Hello guys, this is Caesar Creates and welcome back to my channel. It is time to add another animal from the Twilight pack to our Elm Hill City Zoo. So today we'll build a habitat for the raccoons and I'm super excited for that because I love those guys so much. I found a perfect spot for them in our zoo. I also had a very nice inspiration for this habitat. So yeah, overall I am very happy with this build. But before we'll talk more about that, let me thank you guys because the channel has just reached 11,000 subscribers. So that's amazing to see. We were able to celebrate this achievement on a day that the Twilight pack was released. So it was such a wonderful day for me. So thank you to everyone who recently subscribed. This really means the world to me that you guys enjoy my videos. Also, thank you so much guys for the amazing response to the Bat House video. It got so many views, so many comments, so many people loved it. And also I uploaded this house to the Steam Workshop and looking right now at the Steam, it is still at the first place of the most trending blueprints in Planet Zoo Workshop. So thank you guys so much for that. I hope that you are enjoying this house in your own zoos. But today's video is all about the raccoons and their habitat, so let's talk about that. So before I started building this habitat, I of course looked for some inspiration online. I didn't want to build a cage for the raccoons. I know that they are very often kept in cages in zoos around the world. But I wanted to have something different because we just built a huge cage like an aviary for the bats, so I wanted to build something completely different. And I actually found a really nice raccoon exhibit in Aqua Freshwater Aquarium in Denmark. This is an aquarium, but from what I understand they also house several different mammals like beavers, like badgers and stuff like that. And I thought that it looks really beautiful and it really suits to our zoo and to the habitats that we've been building before. So it has this like taller glass barrier that prevents the animals from escaping, and on the back it has like those taller walls that I will decorate in a very nice way. But the general idea for this habitat is from this Aqua Freshwater Aquarium. My goal for this habitat was to use as much of the Twilight pack pieces as I was able to show you guys how versatile they are. Although this pack is a bit themed when it comes to the pieces, there are so many of them that you can use in your generic realistic builds just as I am using them right now. So for example, you could see me build the base of our glass barrier from the new stone pieces from the Twilight pack, and I think that those are some of the most versatile pieces in the game right now. You can build so many different things from them. I already saw some people do flooring, some people did some other like wall decorations or walls in general, so yeah, those are just wonderful. So the back wall of the habitat will be a bit higher, and this is the wall that I decorated, as you guys can see, with the very beautiful wall, stone wall using the stalagmites. The stalagmites are the piece that I can see myself using in all of my future habitats because I just love the things that we are able to create with them. I think that this is so versatile, as I will show you guys in this build. I will use them both for this back wall and also for the river or creek banks. So I already used them for the first time in a bat house, but here I wanted to, you know, kind of explore them more, do some really interesting rock formations, make them a bit more three-dimensional, and I love how this back wall has turned out, I must say. When the lights hit it in the like right direction, it creates this really cool texture with different shadows, and yeah, this back wall of the habitat looks really cool. I love the habitat with just this wall, and I didn't want to cover it too much, as you guys will see it in the end, so there won't be a lot of, you know, higher foliage in this habitat. So yeah, you can expect me to use those stalagmites, stalactites a lot in my future builds because I just love the things that we can create with them. The only one thing that I sort of don't like about them when they are used in this way is that they appear to be a bit like wet. I mean, this totally makes sense because normally when they are in caves, the dripping down water just creates them. But using them in this way, I mean, on different rock formations and stuff, this wet effect looks a bit strange, but I must say that it was so much more visible in a bat habitat when I had it in brown color, and now in gray it sometimes like fades a bit away, so you can try to hide that in some way. I'm sure that some of you wonder where I decided to place this habitat in the Elm Hill City Zoo. So I don't know if you guys can see, but behind this habitat we have the Przewalski horse habitat, and on the left side we have the ibex, the alpine ibex habitat, and the fallow deer habitat. So we are sort of going back to our like temperate taiga section of our zoo, and this is the place right here where we will also add the skunk and the red fox. So we have the Arctic foxes nearby, so it kind of makes sense to place those animals in here. When it comes to the skunk, this will be basically the next video, and I want to create like a complex of two habitats. So like the raccoon habitat is the first part of the complex of the two habitats. They'll be somehow connected. This is also inspired by the habitat that I found, and I think it will look so good. The entrance to those two habitats will be in the middle. You will be able to see me doing this entrance by the end of the video. So yeah, we are just expanding our little like temperate section where we already have the beavers, the moose, the fallow deers, I don't know, the alpine ibex and badgers and stuff like that. So I think that those habitats just like perfectly found their spot in there. I will try to zoom out a bit in the cinematic shots to show you guys the exact location. And if I counted this right, we'll have 6 more episodes of the Elm Hill City Zoo, and then we'll have an update tour. Because I saw so many of you guys asking for a tour, so I am always telling you that it is coming, but I just wanted to be specific on how much you still need to wait. So 6 more episodes and we will do the update tour. So as you guys could see, I created this little overhang over the back and the side walls of the habitat. This is just to prevent the animals from climbing out of it. The raccoons are obviously really excellent at climbing, and this was also inspired by the habitat that I found online. I will of course put the link down in the description to this habitat so you guys can see what I was going for, of course with my own twists and with my own creative mind, so it will look a bit different than on the picture, but still the inspiration is there. After being done with that, I did some terraforming inside of our habitat. Of course, I wanted to add water for those guys because firstly, they require it in Planet Zoo, and secondly, I really like their animations with the water. The typical thing for the raccoon is that they sort of wash their food, so this is really cool to see that they sort of implemented that into the game. In the game they sort of wash their hands more in the water, but it's still cool to see. I've read that the scientists actually had some hard time finding out why the raccoons wash their food, and the answer for this behavior is in their paws. They are very like sensory animals, they need to touch everything to feel it. They have a lot of nerve endings in their paws, and they probably wet their food to gather more sensory information, and moisturing the food helps raccoon to further understand what they are eating. So this is really interesting, and actually in my native language, in Polish, we call those animals shop pracz, which I think could be translated to English as Raccoon the Washerman, which is kind of crazy, but this is how we call them. So yeah, the name obviously comes from their washing their food. So the water section in their habitat won't be too big. This entire habitat, to be honest, isn't too big. I have 3 of them in here and it's somehow too small for them, but looking at their size, I think that it is totally okay. I've seen so many smaller ones in the internet that I think that this is totally fine. So the bank of this little creek will be made again with those stalactites and we'll add some mulch pieces to even everything out. And I think that this is my favorite element of the entire habitat, to be honest. It looks so good at the end when I will add foliage to it. This water section will just look really realistic and really nice, so I am very glad about it. And the raccoons are able to drink from it. They are going through the water, they are using it all the time. So yeah, it's really nice to see our trash pandas, or the masked bandits in the animal world, as some people like to call them, very happy in this habitat, as you guys will be able to see in the cinematics by the end of the video. As you guys can see right now, we are changing something about this little overhang that we have around the habitat, and this is because I often watch other creators, other videos while I am building myself in Planet Zoo, and while building this habitat I watched the newest Koali episode that Eben uploaded to his channel, and I have to give a huge shout out to Eben for inspiring me to change this overhang, to use those metal pieces from the Twilight pack. I think that it looks just exceptional and it was such a good idea. He also used this roof design in his video, I think for the an entrance to the Australian area in this Koali Zoo, and I hope he doesn't mind that I got a bit inspired to use this roof design also in here, because I think it works so well, and those pieces are just made to be used as a roof. So again, huge shout outs to Eben. When it comes to the raccoons, they really like to climb. All the habitats that I've seen in zoos for the raccoons, they always feature some kind of different climbing structures, that trees for them to climb on and stuff like that. So of course I knew that I wanted to give them some interesting climbing frames here to use. They also require that in the game. So I was looking for some inspiration online and I found this really nice climbing frame that had some little houses for them. I don't even know how to call it. They just those boxes with the hole in there for them to hide in there, and there were just heads of the raccoons poking out of those holes. Yeah, I decided that I wanted to build something like that because it looked really cool. Of course it wouldn't be functional, and here I need to give a shout out to another really amazing creator, Leader. I'm sure you guys know him. He's an amazing, mind-blowing creator and also a Polish guy, so I really much support him. And I remember that in his fennec fox habitat he created those little houses for the fennec foxes using those very tiny limestone pieces, so I decided to go for something like that too. My houses will be of course elevated somewhere on the climbing formations. And yeah, I don't know how many of those pieces are used for those little houses, but there was a lot. But I'm really happy that I went for this idea, because I think that in the end they look so amazing in this habitat. And the raccoons are actually able to come next to the entrances, but they are not able to go in, unfortunately. But still, it looks really cool. When I was done with this little house, there was a time to figure out how I want the climbing structures to look, and for me this is always a struggle. The climbing structures, I don't really like to use the in-game, I mean the pieces that are meant to be climbed for the animals from the habitat section. I always like to use something custom made by me, and it obviously makes my life so much harder. I know that a lot of zoos use those dead trees the most often, so I obviously added them in here too, but I don't know what is it with them, but the animals don't seem to use them. They are not climbing on those, but the game shows that they should be able to. So that's really interesting actually, but so I also wanted to include some other pieces to be able that they will climb in this habitat, and I'll be using more, adding more, and in the end I think that we got like this perfect ratio between the climbing structures and the entire like surface of the habitat, and I think that they look really nice. I'll be sort of done with them. I will move on to building rest of the habitat, and then I will decide that okay, I need something more, I need something higher, and I will add this really cool bridge from the Euro pack. I think it looks really cool in this habitat. I'm not using it too much in my builds, but in here I think it looks really cool, and I like it that I was actually able to place it like higher. It gives a lot of like nice elevation and different, you know, height variety to this habitat, because we weren't using a lot of high trees in here, because of course the animals in real life probably will be able to climb them and potentially escape by just jumping from the trees out of the habitat. After being done with the first part of the climbing frames, I will move on to planting and adding the little rocks to this whole habitat. I will show you the whole process of doing that. This is all the same things over and over again. I didn't want this video to be too long. It is already a very long video, so if you are still watching, you are just the best. So I wanted this habitat to be very like overgrown with a lot of different smaller bushes and grasses, because this is what I saw in the habitat that I was inspired by. When I build those smaller habitats, I always try to be a bit more specific with the placement of the certain plants and so on, because you see so much more detail in those smaller ones. So I was really like patient and really carefully placing those plants, and in the end I think that the planting in this habitat looks just exceptional. I must say that I really like the new foxglove flower or plant. I think that this is a plant that would normally grow on meadows or in more like wild places, so it still looks nice inside of your habitats. Even if you are going for those more natural look of them, it doesn't look as someone just went and planted it there. This is the thing that I don't enjoy about planting the habitats, like being very like particular with placing plants. I don't know how to describe that, but I always like things to look a bit more overgrown and not so plant, even though I like to feature some of the plants that I really like. So this is this mixture of being very like messy but also thinking about what I'm doing. So that's so hard to explain, but you guys often ask me how I do my plants, how I mix them, and this is just what I have in my head. They cannot look too like green, they always need to look a bit messy, so that's why I'm adding also a bit of some drier ones and mixing them together, and this is my thought process behind the planting of those habitats. I will also add some enrichment items for the animals in between, because I realized that I haven't placed them before, and it's always nice to have them first to know where you want to add more details to the habitats and where to avoid adding them. It's kind of a shame that we didn't got any new enrichment items with the Twilight pack. I know that we got this pumpkin ball, but it'd still be nice to have something for the raccoons, for example, or for a skunk. But yeah, still it's fine that they can use. I really like this slow feeder. I think it's super realistic to have it for animals like that, so I really enjoy it. And after that I will continue with planting. Also, what made this habitat look really good is adding so many nettles. I think that the nettles add something like this overgrown and messy feeling that I am talking about all the time, because the nettles aren't the plants that you normally plant yourself. They are just growing like wild weeds or something. This is not intentional. That's why I like to add them, because they add to the messiness of the habitats, and this is what I love. I actually had some other plans when it comes to uploading this habitat. I was thinking about uploading it on Wednesday or even on Friday, but to be honest, I was so tired after building the bat house. The time of the early access of the new DLCs is A bit stressful for me, I must say. Maybe not too stressful, but I put so much pressure on me because I always like to upload those free videos, one showing you guys all the new things added with the new DLC, like animals or the building pieces, then the things added with the new free updates, and also one new habitat to inspire you guys for your new builds and to show you how you can use the pieces that we have from now on in the game. And I must say that it is always so much work. I mean, I am not still perfect with recording. It always takes a little bit longer for me. And I also had some plans, I had work. So the bat habitat was something I don't remember if I ever did something like this. I just sat in front of my computer on Saturday evening. I was building it till, I don't know, 3 a.m. in the night. Then I woke up at 9 a.m. and I build it and recorded the video the entire day simply. So I was sitting in front of my computer for the whole day, being a bit stressed if I will make it on time. But yeah, this is definitely some unnecessary pressure that I am putting on myself. I don't know why, but as I told you guys, I just like to make my life harder. So yeah, after this exhausting experience of building this habitat for an entire day and then quickly editing the video, doing the voiceover, I was a bit tired. I didn't have a willing to play too much. So on Monday and Tuesday, I basically didn't play the game at all. I had to, you know, a bit relax, and then I started to build this really like slow piece by piece from Wednesday, and that's why I was able to upload this video here today on Saturday. And I hope you guys don't mind that there weren't any new uploads during this exciting time of the new DLC. However, you shouldn't have to wait so long for another episode, because we have half of the things done basically for the skunks, as they will use the same barriers, the same shelter and so on. So I will just copy those things over and I should be able to upload this video probably in several days. So this is the time where I decided that I want more climbing frames, I want more elevation in this habitat. So as you guys could see, I created my own dead birch tree, adding the branches to the dead tree basically. I also added a new platform for the raccoons to climb on, and also what I did was add some of the new ivy from the new free update to the rock formations. I didn't want to go too overboard this time with, you know, adding the creeping plants all over the rock formation, because I loved how it looked. So I just added some of them in different places because I am just in love with this ivy. I think it looks amazing. So I definitely wanted to include that in here as well. And also I added this elevated bridge for the animals to climb on and to play on. And this was basically the last thing when it comes to the climbing frames. And right now, as you guys can see, I started to work on a shelter for those little beautiful guys. We are working on a facade of the shelter, and in here, believe it or not, I used only the pieces from the Twilight pack, so you guys really can see how you can use those pieces in a very like realistic, generic way without them being too themed. So we are going for this wooden design that we used in several different places in our zoo. For example, in the Przewalski horse habitat that is nearby, and also in the Arctic fox habitat. And I must say that I really love this type of walls using like this tilted planks. I don't know really how is it called, but I can see it used a lot, for example, in the North American architecture. So I wanted to use something like this, and the bottom part of the wall is from the stones that are also the stone wall that are also coming with the Twilight pack. And I must say that I really love how this building looks. Because of the tilted, like those planks, The shadows and the lights look so good when it comes to the buildings made in this way in the game, so I love using this technique. The entrance to the shelter for the animals will be slightly elevated. They'll have to climb in there, and this works totally fine. I love seeing them use it, so yeah, just a fun little detail. This shelter, as I told you guys, is both for the raccoons and will be also for the skunks, so we are just working on this side, on the side of the raccoons. We'll also do the entrance for the keepers, so we'll have it done for the next video, and also I will finish the roof, the walls, so in the next video we'll just add the inside cages for the skunks and it will all be done. I actually didn't show you in the video how I did the inside cages, like night quarters or however you want to call it, for the raccoons, because this video was already so long and we've done them so many times. I will of course show you guys those cages. They are really simple in the cinematics by the end of the video. I think that the main points of this habitat that make it look so like nice are the glass barrier, are the planting and the back rock wall, and also this facade of the building. So those are the main things that I wanted to focus here in this video. We also did the roof the same way we did it on the overhang, using those metal pieces, again inspired by Eben. And we also add tons of decals to this building. I will add some decals on the roofs for some realism. There will be a lot of trees around this habitat, so I'm sure that there will be some fallout of the leaves or other dirt on those roofs. And also we'll add some decals on the walls for some dirt and some actual dirt on the ground of the habitat. And also we will do the entrance to the shelter for the keepers. As I told you guys, they will use this door to go in, and then there will be entrances to 2 different habitats and also the shelter for the animals. I promise that it will make more sense in the next episode. I actually think about adding those habitats to the workshop when they will be done, like a huge complex of the 2 habitats for the raccoon and skunks. But I must say that adding the paths like to this little entrance was such a struggle. Like the game just hated me in that point. I don't know how much it took me. I think like, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe to figure out the paths, because I didn't want to change it. I loved the entrance and I didn't want to change it. I didn't want to make it wider. So I had to use this technique of using the 2-meter wide path using the gas queue. And then it still didn't want to connect to the entrances to the habitat. So it was such a huge mess. But I finally was able to do that. And I'm not sure if you guys will be able to actually connect it. That's why I have my concerns about adding it to the workshop. But maybe I will do it just for you to be able to look at the details of those habitats. I don't know. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section, because believe me or not, but adding those paths in there, it was just a nightmare. Okay, we still have some time in the video, so let me give you guys some quick fun facts about the raccoons. Raccoons are omnivores and opportunistic eaters, which means that they feed on whatever is most convenient. Their meals can include nuts, berries, fruits, acorns, grasshoppers, mice, fish, frogs, insects, small mammals, and ground-dwelling birds and their eggs. Raccoons are also adept scavengers. They rummage through garbage cans and compost piles and steal pet food that is left outside overnight. They climb bird feeders and dine on bird seed as well, and this is probably why they get such a bad rep. Raccoons are known for their bandit-like dark face mask. One theory is that the distinctive dark markings help deflect the sun's glare and also might enhance night vision. Raccoons are very smart animals and can use simple tools to get to their food. They have 5 toes on their front and back paws. Their forepaws are particularly dexterous and actually look and work similar to our hands. They use their fingers to hold and manipulate food as well as range of different objects and tools. They've been seen opening the lids, jars, boxes and doorknobs, and they seem to be able to get into pretty much anywhere, and they are easy able to lift the tops of garbage cans and open all sorts of containers. And that's why we often call them trash pandas. I must say that personally I really love them. I am so glad that they were added to the game. As a guy from Europe, to me it makes perfect sense. We have a lot of European zoos that house raccoons. So I am very happy that they are here in Planet Zoo and that we are able to build some really nice habitats for those pretty little guys. Okay guys, so the building is almost done and the episode is almost done. We will finish the actual building in the next episode. We'll also do more of the interior work and I will try to include the interior work in the episodes. Here we'll just do the cages for the raccoons and I will show you them in the cinematics by the end of the video, but the building won't be finished by any means. Okay guys, this is all that I wanted to tell you today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We just passed 11,000 subscribers, which is just amazing, and I hope that we'll be able to celebrate some more milestones by the end of the year. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a big thumbs up down below. Ring the bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video. And of course, tell me what you think about the new raccoon habitats in the comments down below. If you'd like to support me a little bit extra, you can do it with the join button down below. This will give you some amazing perks and also you will be supporting the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!